Welcome to Conversations with Sarah. Today I'm joined by Lexi to have a conversation about meditation. Welcome, Lexi. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So we are going to have a chat about meditation today. You are a meditation teacher, aren't you? You've got an online wellness space that you share meditation in. So where do you want to start talking about what you feel meditation is?
So I want to start by saying that meditation for me is nothing airy-fairy. It helps me with real life issues and stuff that goes on in life. And the reason that is because life's life, and there's always stuff that happens, right? It's not always plain sailing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for me, even in my most difficult times, after some really traumatic events, having meditation as my tool really helped to get me through. Because when you sit down and first of all just connect to your breath and nothing else, already scientifically it helps to calm down your nervous system. You've got this like fight, flight or freeze mechanism where you just want to like curl up and go to bed, or you want to like fight someone. And just by breathing, it just helps to bring that bit of calmness and stillness. And it doesn't take away what's happening, of course, but it does. If everything gets too much, just having that time to just first of all sit with your breath, it's just a lifesaver, and it's free, and it's completely free, and it's so simple, and it's just a great tool to have in your toolkit.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. One of the things that I say to everyone, like clients and people I know, is like, just take a moment and breathe. Just like you say, focusing on that breath. And people are like, I am breathing, but like actually really consciously breathing, it is amazing. And how it changes your body and brings your attention, doesn't it, to that moment when I historically had a really, really busy, chatty mind, and using meditation, that's what I found. It's really helped me be quiet in my brain.
Yeah, so that's really the second thing that I love about meditation is, so after you've connected with your breath, you can almost like breathe into your heart, and your heart has a completely different story about you than your head. So your head is fed by, I don't know, the media or family or the TV, things that people have told you, and it can tell you things that you're not good enough, you have to be a certain way, you have to look a certain way, I don't know, your teeth have to be a certain way because they want to try and sell you all these like teeth whitening products.
Yeah.
So with fed, you have to be a certain way, you have to feel a certain way, you have to look a certain way, your life has to be a certain way. And that's what we're told in our mind. And then if we're not those things, then, we don't feel good enough about ourselves. We have anxiety, we have worry, it can lead to depression, and further down the line, some more serious things. I guarantee you, and it's worked for me and every client that I've worked with, when you breathe and kind of treat your mind like a muscle and allow the muscle to relax for, I don't know, say 5 minutes. So you allow it to relax and you drop into your heart. So we have this kind of this voice inside of our head that says to us, oh, you could have done that harder, why didn't you do that better, you're not good enough. When you drop into your heart, it is a completely different kind of story that you get told. It is for me anyway, and a lot of the clients that
I would agree. I would completely agree with you that, I mean, what it resonates with me, and I would, and for someone who's never done meditation, it may sound a bit like, what you're talking about, like getting in your heart. But as you say, just if you think we're talking nonsense, take that few moments and just breathe, and you can absolutely notice the difference.
Yeah, and the heart, once you tap into the heart And if you kind of, it sounds really, well, it sounds weird, but people don't know the heart has more neurons than the actual brain. There's a really good website called Heart Math, and they've done loads of research into it. So the heart is actually a bigger brain than our mind, but nobody knows that. I didn't know that until I got taught it a few years ago. So when you start to think or feel with your heart, it tells you a completely different story. For me, it almost is like an adult and I'm like a child. It will speak to me compassionately. It will say, like, don't worry, it's completely okay to feel like that. Or if you're, no wonder you're feeling stressed because you've got a lot going on right now. And also, just once you tap into it, you start to feel that kind of warm feeling. If you're struggling to kind of grasp what I'm saying, what I say to people is, if you want to feel this feeling inside, that warm, loving, nice feeling, simply just close your eyes for a moment and breathe, and then think about something that you love. So it might be a pet, a person, a place that you visited as a child, somewhere you feel really safe. And just think about that, because your mind doesn't know the difference between reality and fantasy. So if you can really think about that, I don't know, that pet that you love, and you're breathing into your heart, you'll start to feel those feelings. Then scientifically, serotonin, like our happy chemicals, and dopamine, our happy chemicals, will start to release into our body and our nervous system, and you will start to feel calmer, and you will start to feel that kind of warm feeling. Whereas when we're in our mind and we're thinking about all the stress and like fear and stuff, the opposite chemicals are released, like cortisol, which is the stress chemical. And if you have too much cortisol, it's a toxic chemical and it can produce physical symptoms in the body. The good news is the serotonin and dopamine, so the happy chemicals that are released when you drop into your heart and think of something nice, they actually dissolve the toxic chemicals. So there's just so much scientific stuff around meditation that backs all of this up as well.
Yeah, and I think that's what people miss. It can often be seen as like a woo-woo kind of practice, because you're just sitting there and breathing, or you're just sitting there and chanting, or it can be dismissed because we're in our brains and thinking, oh, but it's just nonsense. And it isn't. There is science behind it. And I would echo what you've just said about, like, your body feels the stress, doesn't it, and carries the stress. And if, in my experience, I talk about my experience a lot, I was in quite a stressful situation for quite a long time. And when I left that stressful situation and was quite calm and happy, is when I got my health conditions and when I started having problems. But part of my self-care practice has been using meditation, and that absolutely has helped me with the management of the symptoms, because, like you say, my body was in that cortisol kind of stressful space for a long time. Then it stopped being in that space and didn't know how to operate. And then I've used the heart stuff that you've talked about to help clear that toxicity that's within my body. So I can say from my experience, it absolutely does help and absolutely does work. But it I guess, I don't know, like there's lots of different ways to meditate, isn't there? So, like, for people that are listening, like, oh, I've got a really, really busy mind, how am I supposed to like do this? Where would you say for somebody to start?
Okay, so I have the best formula, and I always say this story. I've got an amazing friend who has ADHD, and I used this formula with him, and he fell asleep, and he was just like, I've never felt so relaxed. So yeah, if we just sit down, close our eyes, and try to focus on our breath and switch off our mind, like, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Oh, I mean, it might work for you, and congratulations if it does work.
Yeah, you're great. That's good. That's great that you can do that. But if that doesn't work for you, then there is.
Yeah. So just share maybe steps 1, 2, and 3. So to start with, number one, sit. I breathe through my nose and I sigh out through my mouth. So I'll just go, and I
I'm
might
doing it
do
with
that.
you.
Okay, let's just do it again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do that however many times you like, between 2 or 5 times. And then I kind of just focus on my breath normally. But the next step, which is key, is I instruct my body to relax. So what I'll do is I'll say, and you can do this for yourself, is I'll say, okay, so I want you to focus on your feet and focus on your calf muscles and kind of relax them. Focus on the tops of your legs, relax them, your hips, just relax your tummy, relax your back, relax your shoulders, just notice them, the relax, and then the forehead, the eyes, the jaw, the tongue, just allow them to relax. Nowhere to be and nothing to do for the next 5 minutes. Feel your whole body relaxing. That is the next step.
Yeah.
Once your body's then relaxed, just focus a little bit on your breath. And there's loads of different techniques, but one is simply just start to slow your breath down, breathe out longer, and then breathe in like a little bit shorter. So you might breathe like out for 6, and then in for 4, out for 6, in for 4, and then just stay there. You'll find the peace, and just stay there for 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 10 minutes. And that is it. So
even like just listening to you, it's very similar to one of the exercises that I use, but just listening to you, I noticed my leg muscles started to relax how I was sitting. I'm very aware that I quite often hold my body very tensely, and it isn't until you consciously think that relax that I was like, oh yeah, that's my legs relaxing, that's my hips are relaxing. And it is so powerful just telling, that we tell ourselves things all the time that we believe. So if we tell ourselves, I'm going to relax, there's no reason why we can't do that as well.
Yeah, and then scientifically on the back of that, so we've got our nervous system is related to something called our endocrine system. And our endocrine system relates to all our bodily functions, like our liver and our eyes and our ears and our skin. So just doing that little, honestly, sometimes I just do that little exercise for 2 minutes. And that, it's almost like a magic pill. Like that's going to help with your eyesight, your ears, your skin, your liver, your digestive system. Like it's free, and it's simple, and it literally helps with your body and your emotions and your mind. I'm just so passionate about getting this little magic tool out there. I just want to say, just the rain started, which reminds me of another meditation that I do. So I do the relaxation, connect with my breath, and then I do this every night. I literally just imagine like a waterfall running down me, and that lets go. That helps to let go of my day. And also, this is a little bit out there, but it's not, because everything's energy, but we can pick up other people's energy from the day. So what I do is I imagine this waterfall just running down me, and that kind of clears my day, and it clears any energy from other people that I've picked up. And it honestly has improved, since just doing that for 30 seconds, it's improved my night's sleep every night. Yeah.
It does make a difference. I, as you started talking about sort of the rain and cleansing, it's one of the things that I do is like using the shower to cleanse off energy. And when I used to do a lot of massage and body work, I would, this does sound woo, I would feel people's pain in my body. And one of the things that I found really helpful was not just washing my hands when I'd finished, but really running my arms under the water and kind of imagining washing away that energy. So not just physically washing, but in my intention, removing that energy of that person away. And I think with meditation, it can be as woo as you want it to be. You can take it to wherever you feel comfortable, but if that doesn't feel like a comfortable space for you, as you said, there's scientific basis for this stuff. It isn't just nonsense that spiritual people are, you know, using as nonsensical. It is spiritual, it is a spiritual practice, but it, or you know, if that's where I'm at with it, but it also is very much of a scientific basis. And like you talked about energy, so I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about sort of how you raise, like raising I can't speak, raising energy and vibrations, because we're talking about clearing energy, so maybe that might help people understand a little bit more.
Definitely. So I am going to take it back to science, because that's what people relate to. And Albert Einstein, you know, the greatest scientific person out there, said everything is energy. And I remember sitting in like year 9 science classes and looking at the protons and the atoms, and you know, everything is made up of energy, and that is a scientific fact.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where it got confused of like, oh, energy is like woo woo, like,
yeah, it is science.
Everything is energy, right? So then you have low vibrational energy, and they done loads of tests on emotions, and kind of like fear and jealousy, which we all have, is like a low vibrational energy. And you know yourself that when you're feeling those feelings, you do kind of feel like a bit low in energy, right? However, when we meditate and send that warm, compassionate feeling to those emotions, so you know, you're feeling fear, you're feeling anxiety, you're feeling jealous, and you say to those emotions, you have every right to be here, let me be with you, let's feel this together. Every single human feels all these emotions, it's completely normal. Then you send the highest vibration that they found is love. So when you can send that love to those emotions and welcome them and allow them, that will automatically, try it for yourself, it's like magic, it will automatically kind of dissolve that low vibrational energy and raise it, and you'll kind of be like, oh, yeah, it's okay that I'm feeling anxious right now because I've got a lot going on, life's very difficult, of course I'm feeling like this. And just that, and you'll notice it raise your energy. You'll just feel yourself kind of just, instead of like this, your energy will kind of come up a little bit. And the best way, you know, I can talk about this all day, but the best way is to try some of these things yourself.
Yeah, and it is transformative. I think we as a society have kind of learned this idea that if we feel an emotion, we don't have to feel emotions. We can just be positive all the time. If we just squish it down and pretend everything's okay, it somehow will be okay. Now I'm all for affirmations and manifesting and all of that, but I also believe we have to, like you've just said, you have to acknowledge our emotions. We have to respect that we have emotions and honor our emotions, and having that loving kindness towards ourselves is transformative. Being able to recognize that, yeah, I feel sad, but it's okay. It's okay that I feel sad. Let me send some love to myself, to my sadness. Completely, in my own experience, it completely can change the way you go about your day. It can completely change the way you look at yourself. It can completely change the way you look at the world, because we can be sad and be happy at the same time, I think. I don't know, would you agree with that, or do you have a different perspective?
I'm a trauma-informed practitioner as well, and on my training they said every single human on the planet will experience sadness, happiness, anger, and feeling scared. Yeah, every single human. It is completely normal to feel those 4 emotions and the rest of the emotions that we have. I always say to people, when we were born on this planet, most of us were born into love and pain at the same time. This earth does have pain. We will all experience pain throughout our lives, all of us. You can't get away from it. It's completely normal. However, when we think that's not normal and we push it down, like you said, it literally creates like dis-ease in the body. So trapped and blocked emotions, if they're not released, they will cause dis-ease within the body. So that could just be like, I don't know, painful shoulders, or it could be an actual disease.
Yeah.
So we're not taught how to feel these. So we all have these emotions, right? But none of us, well, very few of us at school were taught how to deal and feel these emotions. So one little amazing way is using that meditation, sitting down, relax your body, connect with your breath, and slowly, just like a little bit at a time, like, right, I'm going to feel a bit of my anger, or I'm going to feel how afraid I feel, or I'm going to feel a bit of my pain, and just do it a little bit and envelop it in that love and kindness. So it's completely normal to feel this sadness. Talk to it like a little child. You know, you've got a little child there who's really upset. You're not going to say, don't be so stupid. Well, some people do, but I would never say, don't be so stupid, you're not allowed to cry. You'd get that child and you'd say, what do you need? You'd give it a hug. You'd say it's completely okay to cry. It's completely normal to feel sad when your friends have been horrible to you. And you allow that child to feel those emotions. So because you're sat in kind of meditation, you've got your breath, you've got your love and kindness. It's a real like strong energetic container to then feel and release those emotions. And once you release them, it's like the blockages are cleared and you come back to like freedom. But I was so scared at first when I started my therapy journey. I was petrified to feel my pain and to feel my sadness. I almost like honestly thought, like, a part of me was like, you're gonna die if you like feel your pain.
Yeah, and it can feel that physically painful as well, can't it? No, it's not just like you're saying, it's not just a mind thing, it can feel physically painful. I mean, I'm quite happy to share a lot of stuff about me. I would never cry. No one saw me cry ever. Like, it was very, very rare. Like, I would cry if I was angry, but if I was sad, like, no. And I went through stuff that was very sad, and I didn't share that sadness with anyone. And then through my therapeutic journey and the things that I've learned, honestly, I cry everything now. And I honor every emotion that I feel. Don't always get it right because I'm still on that journey. But yeah, I see in me the difference that 10, 20 years ago absolutely would not allow someone to see me crying from sadness. I didn't like them seeing me cry in anger, but that was a much easier emotion to access and allow. Whereas now, I will, if I watch something on the telly that makes me cry, I just allow it. I allow it to be, and I don't criticize myself for it. It is that honoring that emotion, and like you say, being able to be in that space and allow it to be is so powerful. And meditation absolutely can help you tap into that, and it can be scary. And I think if you've got other things that you need to unpack, working with a therapist is important, whether that's a talking therapy or whatever therapy feels good to you. Because it isn't just a case, I don't know if you'll agree, for me it's not just a case of tapping into it with meditation. It gives you clues, it tells you things that are going on, and perhaps that's when you recognize, okay, I need to go and work with someone, I need some support in this space. Like you say, you're trauma informed, and one of the things that can be a trauma response is, I will do this all by myself, I don't need anyone to help me. I've been there, I've done that. And actually we historically we were raised by a village. We do need to connect with other people to honor our emotions and honor our truths. I think, I don't know, would you, I think you will agree, but given
I
what we do as
completely
a job.
agree. Like some things, yeah, I can deal with my own. And somebody taught me this word, triation. I think it's that word. So it's like, you know, if you've got a pain, just like say you're turning on a tap, just like literally let it drip. And
Yeah,
then when you felt that the first little bit of your sadness, then like turn the next one on.
yeah,
But if you want to turn a bit more of it on, you don't have to do that on your own. There's so many amazing people out there that can support you. And you know, I've been doing therapy now for 3 or 4 years, and it's amazing. And the other thing is, like, I remember the first day with my therapist, I sat down, split up with my boyfriend, but I've got no other problems. But I don't view them as problems anymore. Then, like, no one has problems. We all have difficult times, and we all have difficult emotions to process. Like I don't care who you are, every single person will go through hard times in their lives, because
yeah,
that's what being a human is about. We have amazing, beautiful times as well, but we will all go through difficult times because people die, we have accidents, trauma happens, coronavirus,
yeah.
random things
We have
happen,
to
and
live in
you're
our
like,
houses. Yeah,
yeah. So everybody has human emotions, and sometimes we do need a little bit of a helping hand. Yeah, and just doing it with a person that you vibe with, um, yeah, can be really lovely, actually, because I also thought I had to do it all on my own, and I think a lot of people do, but you don't. And when you meet someone that you feel safe with, yeah, it's just an amazing experience that we've both encountered.
yeah, and
And
it's gone. Sorry.
just one other thing is, you know, if you're thinking, oh, I don't need to process my emotions, that's fine, but they will stay within you, and they will cause blockages, and they will cause dis-ease, and they will scientifically lower your vibration. And then if we're talking about like quantum physics and science, like attracts like. So if you have these unprocessed emotions and your vibration is low, which I used to be,
Mm-hmm.
then you will attract things into your life that are also of a lower vibration. So it will be like, I don't know, dodgy situations, or people that aren't very good for you, or a job that you don't really like, which I had all of that. As soon as I start to process my emotions on my own and with a therapist, my vibration raised, and then I had like better, not, I won't say better friends, because I think everyone's, you know, unique and great, but more aligned friends, more aligned job, more aligned circumstances. And I genuinely do feel it's because I raise my vibration, and like attracts like in a scientific way.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. And perhaps for people who feel like energy sounds a bit like we've used the word woo, I would reframe it in a way that once we start to recognize, we heal the hurts and recognize our worth, we expect more from the world around us. When we're low vibrational and we don't feel worthy of the things that we want, we accept and we allow things that aren't in our best interest. Once we start to treat ourselves with loving kindness and like respect who we are, we then start to realize that it's okay to have boundaries. It's okay to expect other people to treat you in the way that you treat yourself. So as you say, like attracts like. So if you don't treat yourself well, you don't expect other people to treat you well, and you allow it.
Yeah, and that's where the
Because you
meditation
yeah
can come in, because you know, you speak to yourself, or I used to speak to myself dreadfully, absolutely dreadful, and then that manifested that other people spoke to me dreadfully. As soon as I started to kind of do that basic meditation of, you know, it's okay to feel sad, don't be like my heart, I tapped into my heart. My heart was like, you know, don't worry if you haven't gone to the gym this week, because you've got loads of stuff on and you're dealing with your sadness. As soon as I started to speak to myself kindly, like you were just saying, it then got mirrored back to me by these other people. Because yeah, if they started to speak to me horribly, I wouldn't tolerate it anymore, because I I knew that I was speaking to myself kindly, and I knew what it felt like. And yeah, and I wasn't going to tolerate that other behavior. And that like kind of happened with meditation and developing the relationship to myself. It's incredible.
It's so powerful. And it is that if you've never experienced meditation, just starting on that journey and tapping into your inner world with that curiosity about, you know, what is it I'm feeling, why do I allow this, is brilliant. I use meditation when I go for tattoos. Like, I find it's really helpful to sort of make it not hurt as much. Just kind of like so there's really practical ways. And I would say for me, when I first started meditating, I would never tell people that I meditated, because in my head, like, people sit there and like cross-legged and they sit there and they go, that is not how I meditate at all.
5:30 in the morning.
Oh yeah, get up with the sun and do my yoga and then do that. That's not how I meditate. I meditate when I'm having a tattoo to use it as pain relief. I meditate in different ways, and that was the biggest thing for me, was realizing that it's okay to meditate in a way that works for me. I don't have to sit and be cross-legged at 5 o'clock in the morning watching the sunrise. Like, I can I can do it in the shower, I can do it while I'm walking, I can do it while I'm standing. It's anywhere. And that's, I think, for me, one of the biggest misconceptions is that it has to be this really kind of like mind-blowing, like it can be a daily part of your routine in a really, really simple way. So what would you say to people that are like listening going, but I have no time to meditate?
Okay, so I get that all the time. So I used to be busy, right? So what I teach is also an eyes open meditation. So if you're in the supermarket, or if you're going to the pub and you haven't seen your friends for ages and you're feeling a bit anxious, or if you're out for a walk, anywhere, you can do the same thing with your eyes open and no one will know. So you have your eyes open, you're in the supermarket, it's really busy, you're feeling a bit anxious or stressed or whatever. You connect with your breath, just breathe. You can do the same thing, relax each muscle in your body, and then just lengthen your breath. And try it out, some of you, in the shop, or if you're driving, or just try it out, and you'll start to feel a bit more calm in that moment. So I teach people that eyes open meditation, and also that loving kindness in your heart. If you're, I don't know, if you're out and about somewhere and you start to speak to yourself horribly, your mind starts to speak to yourself horribly, just catch it kind of come into your heart. What would your heart say? What would you say to that child that was in that situation? And just start to practice that love and kindness to yourself.
Yeah, and I would say anyone who says they're far too busy to meditate needs to meditate.
You can do it.
Like, you are the person that needs to take that time, because I feel very much, if we are occupying, like, we're just busy, what is it you're avoiding? What is it you're trying not to be in touch with? Like, I can allow yourself space to be.
Yeah, and it makes you more efficient, actually.
Yeah.
So I used to be really, really busy and I don't have time to meditate. Then I realized, if I literally just spend like 2 to 5 minutes clearing my mind, relaxing, then when I come to do the jobs, I literally just bang them out, and I'm really efficient. But I also do want to say that, you know, if you've got a lot inside that you haven't ever tapped into, which most of us have, when you know, because our society doesn't teach us about any of this, so a lot of people have got a lot of stuff inside. Go slowly. And also, if you see a therapist, remember that most of them have been in your position. We were all beginners at this journey as well. And if you go to therapy, the therapist is not just going to like dive down straight into that like core wound or the core pain. You'll just start, like, you know, my drip and tap analogy, like they'll start and they'll just say, hey, how are you? Where do you live? And you'll just get a bit of a relationship, and then they'll just like do like the next little layer and the next little layer. And most therapists, which I didn't realize. I thought back in the day, if I go to therapy, a whole can of worms going to open, like I'm going to go straight to that darkest place that I don't even want to talk about right now. Like none of that's true. Like because like as a therapist, and I've been through it, if I have a client, I'm sure you're the same, you'll just literally do like the next little layer, and you'll go at the pace that they want to go, and you're not going to go too quick, and it's just a real safe experience where and it, you know, if you get to that, if you've got this core issue down here, but you just get to there for a bit and you want to stop and not go to therapy for another 6 months and wait till you're ready, or if you're ready, I just want to reiterate that it's just a real safe process, and to do the same with yourself. Just, you know, just go at a pace that's right for you. And I used to never feel enough. I used to have a terrible relationship with myself, like a real abusive relationship to myself, like, you're not good enough, why didn't you do it better, you're not doing that quicker, oh, it was awful. So I just want to share that as like hope and inspiration, that you can start to rewire your brain to kind of think in a more loving and compassionate way.
And I would echo that, that, you know, it's I've had those life experiences that I haven't treated myself as well, and I haven't expected the people around me to treat me in the way that I knew I wanted to be treated, but I allowed myself to be treated poorly, and somehow that was my fault as well. So I think it is, like you say, it doesn't have to be like I'm going to meditate and throw everything out. I'm 10 years into my sort of healing of a situation that I left that wasn't healthy for me, and I still have moments, you know, even though I'm a fully qualified counselor and all of these other stuff, I still have moments where I'm like, that's what that's about. I mean, it's very much, I say it's like an onion. You peel a layer off, you do the work that needs to be done. Then you feel a pace of, okay, I've done the work, it's done, I feel good, I'm okay, and something will come up that makes you recognize, that helps you recognize that there's another layer. And when you're ready, you can peel that layer off and then do the work, and it doesn't, you haven't got to chop it all up and pull it all to pieces. It's go through the layers at the space and time that you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, and then off the back of that, I've recently got into a lot of energy healing, which again could sound quite woo-woo to people, but everything's energy. Albert Einstein, quantum physics is coming in. So I have gone to psychotherapy for a lot of years, but I've realized that, you know, not everyone likes to talk, not everyone likes talking therapies, and there are these energetic therapies are a way, which I've had sessions, and I do sessions, and they're just a way that if you don't want to talk about what's gone on, basically you have an energetic pattern of that trauma that's gone on within you, and that's an energetic pattern. So if you bring in this like purer, more loving energy, it will dissolve that energetic pattern. So I just want to say that for people, that talking therapy is amazing. I've had that, it's great. If you're not really a talky person, and some people aren't, then there's also this kind of alternative energetic healing that you can do, or you can do both. I would say give it a go. Like I was skeptical about all of this until I gave it a go and had amazing experiences. Give it a go. You might not like any of it, you might like both of it, you might like one. Just give it a go and try it for you. And if it's a qualified therapist, that they have had training to make it all safe and to work at a pace that's right for you.
Yeah, and I think that's it. There's so many modalities of healing, and it's finding what works for you. And something like, I love energy healing, but again, I was very much like, oh, but I like the idea of energy healing, but my brain can't make sense of it. It all sounds a bit nonsensical. And when you start to look at the science with an open mind, it makes sense. Like crystals and all of that sort of stuff makes sense. sound healing. It is all energy, and it's very easy for us to go, well, I can't see it, I can't touch it, I can't feel it. You probably can't see, touch, feel a lot of the things that you've experienced in your life. Like, you won't remember the stuff that happened when you were 0 to whatever age that actually is impacting you in your life right now. So don't dismiss something just because it seems a bit, if you can have an open mind about it, and you might find that that's the thing that is exactly the thing that you need in that moment. And if nothing else, it's usually a really relaxing experience.
I say to people, I say, I can't really explain this to you. Even I don't really know how it works. You just have to experience it. And I tested it out on a lot of my friends and family who aren't like I was on this, never have tried this, and I tried it on all of them, and they were all like, oh my god, yeah, I could feel that. Like, I could feel that in my body. And and you can't knock that, someone's experience. And I don't even know how it works, but some of the reviews I've got are just life-changing experiences. So I just say, any alternative healing modality, try it. The brain can't understand how it works, but it does.
And that's it. I mean, I know I used to have to, I did my Reiki training years and years ago when my kids were little, and I would sit, and like you stroke their arm, and I would sit and energetically stroke, like when they weren't looking, and they would feel it. And that, like, I was always trying to disprove or prove, and then there just came a point where it's like, look, it just is, I'm just going to accept these things because of my experience. Why am I denying my own experience? And just kind of going out, and I still now kind of dip in and out and feel a bit like, really though? But it is, and I think it's okay to feel conflicted about it, and it's okay to think it all sounds like nonsense, because our brains lie to us. They do.
And our brains are so small. Like, our brains can't understand how, like, I don't know, you could send energy healing to Australia. Like, it used to be called woo woo and magic. Now it's starting to be called quantum science and quantum physics. And our minds just cannot understand it. It's just bigger. It's far bigger than our minds ever can comprehend. But it does work because it's energy.
I would completely agree. I am noticing the time. We've really talked, so I think if we bring it to, because I love all of this stuff, so I can go on forever. And I know you're really, really passionate as well. So if this feels okay, is this an okay place to bring it to an end for you?
Yeah, definitely. So just to reiterate, that it's just like, everyday normal practices to help with real life stuff.
Perfect. Thank you for coming on, being my guest. Maybe you'll come back next year and we can talk a little bit more about your journey into the other energy stuff that you're doing right now, because I think that would be really interesting. Would that be okay?
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And thank you to people that are listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. To connect and find out more about me and my guests, follow SRTT Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you very much.